Hi guys, it's Charlotte and welcome back to My Life With. Today I've decided to talk to you about emotional support animals. Basically, as much as I know, as much as I've dealt with, which is not a lot. However, I'm in the process of training my German Shepherd to hopefully be, there she is, to be an emotional support dog. I'm down on the floor because she can't get up on the table. This is Lyanna. At the moment, she's just all kinds of facing the camera. What are you doing? I'm trying to train her to be my emotional support dog, strictly for my anxiety. She's only a year old, so she's still learning a little bit. She's not very good at it, and right now she wants to play with her brother. Hey, hey, stop. She's gonna be moving the tripod a little bit. It's probably a bad idea to do this on the floor. So, basically, emotional support animals, generally speaking, in California at least, they're usually dogs, and apparently small ponies are allowed. I haven't looked this up yet. This is just what my husband has told me. Please don't bite me. Basically, emotional problems, anxiety, fear of going anywhere, PTSD is really a major one that they're used for. I've seen a lot of veterans out with their dogs. They're good for support. That's what they're good for, support. If you're out somewhere or you live alone, they're your companion, basically. And in the case with Lyanna, at least, when I start having an anxiety attack, she's already picked up on it. So usually I go out in the backyard and I'll pace back and forth. And the second I go out there, she is right up my ass. She goes, "Mommy, what's going on?" And she'll follow me. I'll pace in circles around the grass and she'll follow me until I go back in the house, and then she'll go lay down. Okay, my job is done. Sometimes Flynn will do it too. But I think honestly he'd make a better support animal than Lyanna would. This is Flynn. And this is Lyanna trying to get in the way. He's very cuddly. He's a good cuddler. Sometimes you just need a good cuddle. Sometimes you need actual, Okay, you guys, go. Go now. I'm sorry, they're ridiculous. Sometimes you need, more than just somebody giving you a hug and telling you, "Oh, okay, everything's okay now, you're okay, I'm here for you," kind of thing. Dogs can give you something that sometimes humans can't, in a way. As you can tell, I'm a little, spacey today, so, and it's not just the dogs who are up my ass right now. Sometimes, you need more than a hug and more than comforting words. And, just looking into a dog's eyes sometimes, depending upon how bad you're feeling, is all you really need. You get that sympathetic look, if you will, looking back at you, all that love and everything. And sometimes that'll help. If you can train the dog to hug, if you will. I'm working on Lyanna, put her head on my shoulder kind of thing. But, I said she's only a year old, so we're working on it. I'm training her in German because she already speaks English, so German as well, which thoroughly confuses a lot of people, and I absolutely love it. I took her over to Petco for, basic puppy training classes because I have no patience whatsoever. And I got really friendly with, made friends with the trainer. And it was completely throwing her off. She'd give her a command and I'd reinforce that command and then I'd say it in German. And she's like, "What language is that you're speaking?" I'm training her. She's a German dog. Train her in German. Because I know enough, basically, to hold a very, very, very limited conversation and get myself arrested. Which I tell people, it's funny. So, eventually, I'd like to get to the point where I could take her out in public with me and she's not jumping on people and she's not barking at everybody and, you know, she's behaved, which I have a feeling is a long time coming. It's going to take a while. And just being out in public by myself sometimes anymore is enough of a challenge for me. I know I mentioned in a previous video, I'm pretty sure I'm starting to develop a little bit of agoraphobia. And I'm not trying to demean anybody that actually suffers with full-blown agoraphobia. It's just in my researchings and symptoms of things, you know, you're scared to go places, you get really nervous going out the house kind of thing. That's what I'm dealing with, and just people like a label for things. So that's what I give them, is I feel like I'm developing a very mild case of agoraphobia. Just leaving the house makes me nervous, unless it's somewhere I'm every day, like taking my daughter to school or picking her up. I mean, that's all I really do anymore. Unless it's the weekend, I'll go somewhere with my husband, if that. Usually it's like the grocery store or something. So I figured taking Lyanna with me, if she can ever behave, if she can ever behave, might help. That way I can actually go out and have a life, if you will, because at the moment I don't feel like I have a life. I'm constantly home, you know, go to and from school, get my daughter, come home. If she goes to her grandmother's house, because they live really close, that's one thing, and I'm still home by myself. Lately I've been going to my friend's house more often, if she's home, and I'll go and I'll hang out with her. But even then, I've known her, 27, going on 28 years, something like that. So I'm way past more than comfortable with her. So getting out of the house to do that is something I'm comfortable with. It's going outside my comfort zone is what I have a problem with. So, back around to it. Taking the dog, I'm thinking might actually help. So, I'm trying to train her, hopefully, eventually. And I say hopefully because at the moment, it's looking a little iffy. Hopefully, taking her with me places, you know, going back to, say, the mall. I hate the mall where we live. But that's basically the hub of, there's people here. Is, you know, go to the mall. But, you know, people, and like I said, I think was the last video, that was the last place I saw the guy who assaulted me. So I get really nervous. I've had panic attacks there before, completely unrelated to that. So going back and worrying, is that going to happen again, kind of thing, makes me nervous. So I figure, dog, she might help, be a little easier with that. And, you know, I'd really like to get to that point of not having panic attacks in public. You know, it's, all you really want is an escape route. Excuse me, miss, I'm talking. And, you know, you don't feel like you have one alone. You, and I say you, universal you. You know, it's, you feel like you don't have anything to take away the stress, take away the fear, the anxiety. And from what I've looked up, from what people have told me, a dog can help. You know, that's what they're trained to do, if you train them to do it. You know, emotional support animals do exactly what, you know, their title is. They support your emotions. If you're having an emotional problem, you break down. I've seen, not personally, videos and stuff, like I said, I'm the research queen, of people with autism. Specifically, getting into that. My brother is, I believe, mildly autistic. I don't know on the spectrum. He's high functioning autistic. He has a cat at home. I mean, he doesn't take her out everywhere. But looking at seeing his anxiety levels, he's got pretty bad anxiety, like I do. But just seeing his anxiety level decrease when he's holding the cat, I told my mom, we were talking about it one time, I said he register her, get her licensed. That way he can take her places. But, she's a cat, and I love cats, but cats are assholes. So, I am a very big advocate, if you will, for emotional support animals, and I gesture here because Flynn's laying in front of me. There's just something you get from animals that you don't get from humans. I mean, you get the back and forth conversation from humans, you get judgmental humans, you get, oh, you can't be that bad because this is what's wrong with me. Oh, well, this didn't happen to you, but this happened to me. You get basically shoved off to the side because I can't see your current problem, so it must not exist. Which is complete and total fucking bullshit. You don't get judged by a dog when you're having an emotional issue. I mean, I don't ever see Lyanna, I don't ever see Flynn, looking at me all judgmental, like, okay, sometimes you get those judgmental looks, but it's just like, you don't give them a treat, you give the other one a treat, and they'll look at you like, hey, mommy, fuck you, kind of thing. But emotionally, you don't get judged by a dog. I mean, I've never been... You can't ever say you've been judged by a dog, but you know where I'm going with this. Flynn's laying here right in front of me. All he ever does is lick you. And sometimes just the noise, just the sound of him licking will set me on edge. Like, it'll make my nerves just, they're raw kind of thing. But all he does is love people. I mean, that's all. Lyanna's trying to move my tripod. Come here, please. All he ever does is love on you. I mean, he is just the kindest, sweetest dog I think I've ever owned in my life. And, if you have a problem, he can sense, like when my daughter starts crying for any reason, she's a little kid, they start crying about stuff, he'll come up and he'll curl up in his little ball that he does, and he'll just sit on you. And that's, that's comforting enough when you just have someone, and someone, dogs are people too, to cuddle with. It's kind of just somebody's there for you, even if you have people. Sometimes just somebody that doesn't talk back, somebody that doesn't answer you, somebody that doesn't ask questions, helps. It's a relief of sorts. And that's the only way I can describe it. And does my hand have a flavor? I believe my hand has a flavor. Thank you. Now he's judging me because I took my hand away. But sometimes that's all you need is just the silence and somebody to hold. I mean, they don't ask questions. Sometimes you just need to not ask questions. Sometimes you just need a hug and not a, hey, what's wrong right now? Just comfort me. And dogs are great for that. Especially Flynn. I'm thinking maybe he should be the emotional support dog instead of her. But we'll see how she goes. I mean, she's bigger. Sometimes with the breed, bigger dogs work better for some people. Some people don't like smaller breeds. That's personal preference. So, long story short, emotional support animals, in my opinion, are absolutely great. They're just, they can help so much. I've talked to a few people I've seen out, with theirs, veterans specifically. I've talked to a few, they'll have the vest on, support animal, they'll have their little license and everything. And I've asked a few, very respectfully, because I have nothing but respect for military veterans. They've gone, they've sacrificed. Thank you, every single one that has served our country. And I've asked a few, may I ask what your support dog is for? And they'll tell me, oh, I got PTSD from being, lately Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever we are right now. And, I'll leave it at that. I don't go any further in asking questions. It's just, okay, well, your dog is for this. Thank you for serving, and be on my happy way. But just, I've seen one guy in particular just completely lit up all kinds of, hey, somebody understands, if you will, because I've engaged in conversation and I'm training my dog to do this because, my anxiety. And it's just like, okay, there's somebody else, because some people just feel alone in the fact that they have an emotional support animal. Lyanna, stop. Stop. Some people feel like they're alone just in the fact that they have an animal. Lyanna Daenerys, I am talking. Yes, she gets her middle name too. Yes, they have middle names. So, this one particular gentleman just completely lit up. It's like, oh, there's somebody else besides just me that requires, an animal for this. And, I walked away from him feeling pretty good. Made him light up a little bit. And it just reinforces, at least for me, that, these animals are necessary for people. I mean, you have your own issues, if you will, going on. Sometimes the best thing for a person, if they're, therapy for people, some people need medication, whatever. Sometimes the biggest contributor to assisting your mental health problem, if that made sense, is a dog. Licensed, trained. Obviously, it's California. You have to have a licensor for everything. Sometimes sometimes the biggest thing some people can get in the way of help is, an animal. If any of that made sense, let me know. Because for some reason that didn't to me just now. I mean, I know I've sounded like I'm kind of rambling, and I've repeated myself a few times. Like I said, I'm a little spacey today. So, let me know in your comments down there if you've ever had an emotional support animal, if you feel you need one. I am obviously not in a position to provide them, so there you go. Let me know if you've had an experience with one, if maybe you've trained a few, if you have any pointers for this one over here. Just let me know. Let me hear. I need feedback on this. Just leave a comment if you want. Side note, I know trying to upload the other videos that I've done in the past days. The first one did, the fourth one did, the middle two are still being weird about it, so they'll get there eventually. So let me know what you think, feedback, comments, whatever, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.